workshop is going to be for the area program staff. That's including the DMNE as well. And then our next outcome is to build the capacity of area program who are co-facilitators. So we want to see that these co-facilitators can facilitate effectively, and we'll do this when we link with the projects like your time frame, whatever you come up with. And then number 3, we want to see that co-facilitators are working through target groups consistently. And here,
can you just say what co-facilitators are? So.
Co-facilitators are the GME and the project staff.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And here, the community, so we pass this on to the area program staff, and they now will work with the community. So what we want to see is that the co-facilitators make a commitment to engage community, that's like volunteers, youths, the mamas and the papas, in action learning and how. And then we want to see that the relationship between these co-facilitators and the community and partners improve.
Is that any problem?
Yeah.
It can be.
Yeah, especially working with partners and the communities, like at the same time, because they have different activities happening.
Local politics.
Yes.
Yes.
Stage 2 is the mobilization. So we train staff. First of all, we have to do identify tools for mobilization. And then we get to train staff to use mobilization tools and how to gather information. And for area program staff, we'd like them to confidently help community to use tools for mobilization and gather information and identify resources. And then for communities, we want communities to document the kind of situation and needs that they are in. And then community can identify their local resources. And we'd like communities to take ownership of information and the whole process. To summarize, this is how it looks. So for our stage 1, it's project staff and program staff awakening. Okay, so this will take about kind of like 2 months for us. That's what we to do with all the trainings and identifying tools and bringing people together. And then stage 2 is mobilization, and we're thinking of putting that as 1 month. So it's like we as a PDU team, like how can we effectively do this and within what time? So it's going to be an ongoing monitoring process for us. And for certification, at this point, we don't know what kind of certification we'd like to award to our program staff and DMNE officers. So we'll just left it like that, their certification. And the resources that we are using are the staff, the GAL and action learning tools, and the GAL resource person. And we have monitoring tools, so our monitoring tools are like the IPM model and all others. And our evidence are that the trainings that we've set out to do, they must have taken place already. And then in projects, their quarterly reports, at least they must be mentioned that they're using the GAL and action learning process. And also daily diaries and monthly summaries, is it? Monthly summaries.
My name is Boniface Wadari. I'm the area program manager for Bougainville program. So during the week, I did learn a lot of things. But very important thing that I learned is that the GAL pathway. When we go through it, I really see that I can develop myself. Then I can develop others also. So it's really something that I gained that I will put into practice. Meaning that I myself must continue and confident with how to go about GAL and continue to grow to change. And then when I'm confident enough, then I have to pass on that confidence that I have to others. I will let them also grow and transform. Not only in like physical things that they need to see, that but through their lives and through their own way of making their life worth. So what I really think and I believe that through the girl, I think a lot of transformational development will be taking place with people and also the environment. So I believe that I must grow myself and grow others, and all of us will transform and something good will happen.
Boja Sinato, and I'm a worker with the project Rescue Children and Youth from HIV/AIDS in the Bougainville program. I work as a community-based facilitator. This week, what we've learned in GAL, for myself, it's like GAL has equipped me and provided me with the information. It's been like it has awakened the giant within me, especially the hidden potential and the skills that I have that I had never realized before. And then that has also equipped me with the way in which I can find my own solutions, especially in my personal life and also in the environment that I'm working in. And these skills is also needed in our communities. It is badly needed in our communities. And GAL has to go into our communities, and we are also agents of change who we attended this workshop. And these marginalized people of the community, they need this GAL to empower them to know more about their skills and to know more about their way of development. And then one of the important things also, it has also enabled me to know and realize what my goals are for the next 12 months, especially in the development of my career path. And that's one of the things that GAL has made me realize. And lastly, I think GAL is the way to go to help the rural population of Papua New Guinea help themselves. I think here it's only the starting point, and World Vision as partners with the GAL is a way forward to help our people, especially this project on Bougainville is an education project. It will also help our people there. And maybe when you reach out in the future, also the other communities in Papua New Guinea.
I'm Camille Langora, and I'm the DMNU officer for POM program. I only started 2 months ago with World Vision, so it's pretty new for me and pretty new environment to work in, because I was with government before, so it's really challenging here and exciting. So one of the things, I've learned a lot in this workshop the past week, but there was one thing that really struck me, is that the ability to reflect each day and sort of have an account of what you've done and what you did not do. And I've shared it during the week, that the experience with my little girl, and how I was being tired of the work and not spending much time with her. And it sort of made me realize that, I can map out, or I can have time for work and my little girl, and I wasn't doing that. So there was one thing that I learned, and thank you so much. The other thing is that my ability to really perform, to monitor POM programs effectively, and I guess there's one thing that we haven't been really doing, like Albert and I, and with this exercise, I can really see things happening. So thank you so much, Mikhail and Richard, for coming here and going through GAL and action learning, and I'm sure it would cascade down to the communities, and being there on a couple of occasions to the project sites and settlements, and seeing all these young men and women having nothing to do, and they're like lost.
Yeah.
And we're trying to teach them something, and they attend a particular training, and they say, oh, I didn't get a certificate. I did screen printing, I didn't get a certificate, and what do I do next? So with GAL and giving that them an opportunity to really do what they do best and recognize them, I'm sure we're going to have an impact in these communities. And I'm just ready for this, and I can't wait to get this down to the community. So thank you so much, team, and the two gentlemen. It was a real great pleasure having you guys.
My name is Carol Sasa, and I'm a program officer with World Vision PDG. Okay, I must admit I did come to this workshop with a bit of questioning. I was wondering what GAL was and if it really could work in our context. But and I guess like a lot of us, I did have a lot of confusion at first, but as the days went along, it all started to become more clearer. And I guess what really hit home this week was firstly a meeting with Sir Polius on Monday, yeah, and how he talked about education, what it was that many years ago and what it's sort of becoming today, and how he spoke of integral human development, which could mean so many things. And that really got me thinking. And as we came back here and started off the workshop, and when Mikhail lined all these posters up on the wall and took us through education, what it was, what it consists of. Personally, I've always thought that there was something missing in our education system. When we look around us today and we see so many social problems, and I think it's very difficult to change older people or grown-up people, but I've always believed that we can start with children. But how exactly do we do that? I always thought that children need to be taught certain things, like certain values in school especially. And it all came together on Monday, and I realized that I think our education system is missing this component of essential life skills. Children aren't taught a lot of these things in school, and so they grow up not being, say, complete in many senses, human beings. So I believe what GAL actually gives us that opportunity to incorporate these essential life skills into learning or into education, but not only in the formal sense, but in the communities in which we work, and not only with children, but with all our target groups. And another thing that really stood out for me this week was change, that process of change, like how I cannot change people around me unless I myself change. And many times we as individuals identify issues in our lives, in our work, and many times we don't take that first step to address them. We just sit there and try to work it through in our heads, or hope that someone else will notice it and come and fix it for us. But what this week has really taught me is that I can start that process of change. I can't do it myself, but like action learning, through getting with a group of maybe my peers and sitting down and maybe sharing my issues with them, my challenges with them, maybe we can come up with ways forward. And I believe that this can work. This can work in our organization and for us as individuals. And I can also see this working in the communities in which we work, with project staff all the way down to our beneficiaries. I believe that if people can sit down together, our beneficiaries can sit down together and identify their issues, their challenges, and if they themselves can identify solutions and the resources they need to achieve their goals, then eventually they'll be driving that change in their communities, and we won't be needing to do it for them. So I think that GAL really can work in the work that we do.
I'm the Program Development Unit Manager for World Vision PDG, Pacific Development Group. I've been in this job for a couple of years now, and it's taught me a lot. I've come to find that the way I manage and work with my staff is a lot about action learning. Maybe it's not conscious, but I remember when I hired the first two staff, which was Grace and Carol, the first week I said, we're going to Bougainville, and these two young ladies, new to development, new to World Vision, came with me to Bougainville, and they had no idea what was in store. And we went out to the bush, and we went out to different communities doing assessments, and it was 2 weeks, and it was hard going. But for me, that was action learning, and it's not always easy. I think that with learning, you experience the highs and the lows, and it's in that case there was a lot of highs, but a lot of lows as well because of the difficult circumstances and the challenges in Bougainville. Coming to now, I've found this week to give me a lot more energy and more spirit about my work, which I never really expected. Not that I was lacking that, but I think that you need a kick up the bum sometimes to just say wake up, and what you're doing is a good thing. And you know, in this line of work, you do question a lot about the work that you do and what's the best way to go about it. And I really feel that the what we've discussed here and how we can take action learning and put it through a framework that really ensures that you are responsible for the learning, but also helping others. I really like the idea of giving. And giving and sharing and mentoring. So for that I'm grateful for this week, and I'm hopeful that we can continue on as a team. I really love the diversity of this group. I know we're all in different positions and in different places, but I really would like us to come back at some point and reevaluate where we are using GAL and using action learning. So
Igolo, and this is my second month probation into this project manager position for water sanitation and hygiene project in Bougainville. So what I learned this week was really touching to me. I really got something out from there. And I believe that in order to change our communities, we have to change ourselves. When I first came into World Vision, I was told that our core business was transformation development. And I believe God has given us, each of us, gifts within us. And to change our communities, we have to share these gifts within us. So this training this week has been a blessing to me, been a privilege, and I'm really grateful. And I just want to say thank you for bringing this into Bougainville. It will really be a blessing to them as well. And I just want to say thank you.
Grace here, and I'm the program officer with World Vision. I've been working here for almost a year and maybe 4 months now. And for this week, it's been very challenging for me, especially to grasp the whole idea of what GAL is and action learning is. I mean, someone can do a lot of reading around these topics, but you have to have someone here to explain what it really is about, and then to actually go through the process to know that what the whole idea is behind the concepts of girl and action learning. So for me personally, like all throughout my whole life, I've been setting goals, like personal goals for family and finances and job-wise, of how I want to be a better person, but I've not always followed it through. And it's like maybe after a week I fall through the plan, and then after some months I get back on and say, oh, this was what I should have achieved, but I haven't achieved this so far. So with this week's personal learning statement and jotting down what I'd like to achieve maybe in the next 12 months, I've seen that I can actually achieve the goals now that I've set, because there's a process that I will have to follow, and it's not like I'm doing it all myself. I have all you other colleagues and peers that I can work with, where we can support each other and guide each other, and more like be a network of people who are checking up on each other, like how are you going with yours, and how can we help you, and all that kind of stuff. And also this idea of using learning coach, I think that's really good idea, because we can always go to someone who's like, would say specialized, or is an expert in something that they've done, and we can learn from them as well. But not only learn from them, but they'll be helping us to find our own solutions, and that's a really great thing. And also the other thing is that from 12 months from now, I'd like to be a more positive person and have a positive influence on every other person. And I've heard like stories like about people like maybe Nelson Mandela or some other figures that have impacted upon their communities, and I've wondered how I could impact upon my community as well. And coming from a community where we live in settlements and we face problems like water and youths, like every weekend it's not easy. Seeing youths who do not have jobs, who are like hopeless, who feel like they have nothing to achieve, going around getting drunk, harassing people around them. So I've been just wondering for a long time like how I would be helping these people, but I just didn't know how to go about bringing them together and working with them. But with GAL, I've seen that I don't need to impact a whole lot of people, maybe one or two people, and then they go out and they cascade that effect onto others, and that's how we see the impact, which also goes to our work as well. If we impact on our communities, maybe one or two volunteers or beneficiaries, then they go out and they have that whole effect on every other person. So it's like we become the agent of change, and that's really important. So we'll just see what happens in the next 12 months, how many more people would have been doing the same things that we are about to.
And, I'm currently the operations manager for PNG, and I've been full-time on the role, I think, for 1 month, but I've sort of been on the role part-time for the last 5 months before being full-time. And it was a challenge for me trying to take up this role, but I think the driving thing that brought me was the desire and the edge to try and something higher than what I used to do. And at the same time, that's on a personal level. And on the organization level, I feel that it also gives me the opportunity to be able to share some of the learnings that I have had while being an area program manager. In that regard, like what is it that I can be able to take and be able to cultivate in those that are coming up. Because I was basically coming to the end where I was thinking of maybe I've stayed too long with the organization and it's about time to move on. But again, I was at the crossroads. There is this opportunity, and after much consideration, it was still a challenge, like taking this opportunity in a place like Pong, and with the sort of challenges that are there. But on a personal level, as I said, it was really trying to do something that you haven't done before, that is a bit higher. But on the organization level, it's very much sharing what I was able to do, some of the challenges I went through, and were able to resolve, find a way out. But during this past week, as we were going through GAL, like it came to the realization that it really is about being able to overcome yourself, what your issues are, what your needs are. And a lot of time, as I reflect back on the work, we are basically there for other people's needs, for the organization that we serve. And in so doing, we are just running up the schedules that others set and not being able to really set our own agenda. And whatever we achieve is also for those that we are working with as well. So when we are doing that, like running up the other people's schedule agenda, we in most times feel very much empty with him, but we need to justify our existence to some extent. And to some extent we feel that we either eventually run out of all the steam that we need to have to be able to be effective in the workplaces. So really what God is really telling me this week is about helping yourself. Because there's this, I think, the common saying that comes back to my mind when you're looking at it, like were you able to win the whole world, and then to lose yourself, like doing all the good things that you're able to do. Or there was another saying that actually, like there was someone who was so young, so energetic, who wants to conquer the world, and he went out trying everything that he had, but at the end of the day, like when he actually lost all the desire, all the dream, he found out that really he needs to have started with himself. And then with that learning, with that understanding, and then with the support of those who are close to him, he can now conquer the world. So anyway, that's what God is telling me. And we talk about generously, but it needs to flow from within, that satisfaction, the purposefulness that we'd like to pass on must be evident in our lives. And when it is so, then we are better ambassadors for such a life to those we intend to.
Hi everyone, my name is Melinda Kanamon and I'm the Design Monitoring and Evaluation Officer for Bougainville program. This experience has been very overwhelming for me. As much as it has helped me, it was very confusing at first. But now I realize that, GAL has helped me to awaken or revive this ability within me to self-learn. And I believe that if I'm responsible for my learning, then I'm the best teacher for myself. And GAL has helped me to see that I can, help myself be better at what I do, not only professionally but personally. I relate back to our meeting with Sir Paulius Matane and his famous acronym, PUPPIES. And I've heard him mention this in several gatherings at the university and elsewhere. And I realized that in my life there's a lot of purposes for me to fulfill, but it's each day, one step at a time. And I have been useful and productive, but not progressive. And GAL has helped me realize that I need to, in order for me to be better, in order for me to develop and change, I need to progress. And it's as a Papua New Guinean, like realizing the support that we have from significant figures such as Sir Paulius and the Prime Minister and even our National Director and senior management. It's very encouraging for me as a staff and as a citizen to want to pursue, to learn and to be better and to help develop myself. And not only just myself, but others as well. And now the challenge for me and my colleagues here is how we can help ourselves to help other people. And with the Bougainville program, our target is mainly youths now, and I see that as a youth myself, unless I can learn, unless I understand what GAL is or how I can help myself, and unless I learn that, I can help others. And going through the outcome mapping exercise yesterday, um, everything sort of, the puzzles all fit together. Like I realized, I had to do this. I wanted to say, Richard, please, can you just show me how to state my inputs? What do I need to do? And what outcomes? Are these outcomes right or is it wrong, And then, as he was saying, it's you. You will help yourself learn. It's you that's going to, progress and change, and you're the one that's responsible for action learning. And after each of us sharing our inputs and outcomes and our own, everything, I realized that, I could go back and I could do a better job at this. I could really map out what I want to do and how I can help myself and be better. And not only that, I realized that if each of us individuals, like working here and in our own lives, if we can really set out what we want to do, we can really help ourselves individually and as a team, working with World Vision. Like I see that, like this outcome mapping has connected all of us together, like the time and the activities that we need to do, and I realize that we'll have a more greater impact in our work in working with the communities, and more quality in our work. So it's been a privilege for me to have gone through this experience this week with all of you, and I'd like to thank Richard and Mikhail and the team here, World Vision.
Kyle Olson. I'm the Global Director for Education and Life Skills at the Global Center. I've already been doing something like golf, so I've been thinking this week how to sort of mesh it with what I've been doing. And it's a little unusual probably, but I actually do have goals for health, for finances, for friendships, for work, and I've recorded those on a CD. And before I go to bed at night, I play that for half an hour as a way of kind of just every day training my mind to think about what I care about the most. But then and I think for all of you who are in leadership roles, it's probably similar, as the better you do your job, the more it grows and the more it expands. And so now the number of direct reports is multiplying this year. And I'm trying to think, how is it going to be possible to keep up with that? And so golf for me, I'm thinking if I do this myself and do this with my direct reports and they're able to do it with theirs, maybe you can manage with more direct reports than an ideal management structure would allow. Ideally it's only supposed to be 3. 5 maybe, up to 5, but once it gets more than that, you really can't stay in touch with everybody. And yet, my philosophy has always been, you want people to flower and grow toward who they are to become and what their skills are. So even if I have a volunteer, an intern, and I want them to do something, at the same time you want their personal growth and development to be going at the same time. So I'm always looking for as much overlap as possible, but knowing that you'll need to give them some time and some space to move toward what's their inborn vision and dream, rather than just fulfilling my expectations. So this does that quite nicely because of the personal track and the work track. And because, I was going to give this to Richard, because I don't think he's had a chance to really see how we do our performance reviews very well. So I think the GUL system fits very nicely, or can fit very nicely, with our performance review style, our work objectives, and our personal development objectives. I actually tried this year. So on the personal development side, on the learning objectives, I couched them in terms of the 5 life skill categories, so that I'm working on them, and if I'm working on them, and then seeing to what degree that would make sense with my direct reports as we move down the Gull track to people at the community level who are trying to teach life skills. Because if we're not all doing it and we're not all practicing it, there's no way to go to a college to train in applied life skills. It has to be applied in your life. It has to be action learning. So I'm filled with anticipation about how this might work. And then in the area of, I talked a lot about that fifth essential life skill where you find your strength, your calling, your capabilities, how they can best contribute to something bigger. For me, I think that I'm just so passionate about the 4 R's, reciprocity, respect, relationship, and responsibility. And my whole life journey has been one of surprises and ahas about the value of engaging with people unlike me and seeing room for growth in dialogue with them. And I told you I wanted to write this book as well, and it kind of never gets, there's patches of it here and there, and it hasn't really gotten pulled together. So one of the things I'm thinking about doing with the Gull track is for my personal self, get a draft of that done this year. But do it in a way that, I always have occasions like this where we're talking about the essential life skills and the ways to embed them in our life so that we can pass these on to kids in our communities. So when I have those opportunities and I tell one of the stories that are going to go in the book, because the book's going to be a series of stories, drawing from life experience, and prepare for, you're going to get up and talk so you can prepare for that and think about it, and flesh it out a little bit in anticipation and kind of develop them in the course of doing my other responsibilities that maybe I can meet.
I'm working as a community-based facilitator for World Vision Buka. Firstly, I would like to say thank you. I would like to say thank you to our Heavenly Father for making this possible for me to come and attend this training. Because all through this week, what I've been learning is very important to me, because GAL is a very new program which I didn't know it, and some of the things which I've learned during this week, I didn't realize that it's an action learning process during my activity which I'm carrying out in the field. And what I also see is all those things which we've been going through this week. They are very challenging things that we need to follow them, because if we don't face challenges, we cannot improve. So I think through the challenges, we can improve ourselves with our jobs, and we can cascade through the communities by bringing more understanding to them so that they can fully participate in GAL program. I think with that, thank you very much.